So here's the deal. Today, I leave the house. I have a couple stops I gotta make. Gotta handle some business. I gotta go to HEB, pay my electric bill in cash because that's what I have to do. I'm an idiot. Don't ask. But I also gotta go to UPS store, take back a pair of britches I got myself off of Amazon, and the britches is too small. I was trying to get a size 44s to give me a little bit more room in the waist. I like them baggy, but instead I ordered a 34s, and them ain't what I wanted. So I got to take them back to the UPS store and they drop them off. And anyhow, I got on the way there now. I got on the way, yeah. I got on the way there, and I keep my eye on my gauges, as you should. And whilst I'm keeping my eye on my gauges, as you should, I noticed that my temperature gauge shoots way up and then my oil light comes on. I'm like, oh Lord, this ain't good. But since I'm keeping my eye on it, I notice it quick and I pull over to the YMCA where everybody's having a big time out at the playground and such. So I pull over and go up under the hood, and man, we got some steam coming out. We got a bunch of steam coming out. It's dripping down onto the engine, and we got some steam happening. So I'm a pretty resourceful feller. I keep me a couple bottles of water tucked under the back seat there in case of such a situation. Anyhow, I pour them bottles of water up into the engine coolant area and think, oh well, we got this figured out. But I'll be damned if we didn't have the exact opposite of that happen. We did not have it figured out. See, usually I just put a little bit of water in it. It's an old truck sometimes. You just keep it in water or whatever. But this seems like there's a hose that's busted. So I'm like, well, I still got to get to the HEB and pay the power bill. So I put that water in there, limped on over to the HEB. And when I got back over I was pulling over to right around the corner from the HEB, and he started heating up again. So I was right next to a gas station. So I was like, hell with it, I'm going to go in here and get me a case of water and just fill it all the way up. Maybe 2 bottles worth wasn't enough. And also the hose thing, So anyhow, it's also more than just the hose situation at this point. I just go and I look, and I'm thinking, I just thought it was steaming out of the back. And I realized that, oh no, it's straight dripping out of one of the hoses. I got a case of water, started dumping it in. And dude, I'm telling you that my truck drank an entire case of water minus 2 bottles. And I started looking underneath, and I was like, oh no, this water is just coming out. But either way, I ran all the water through the system. And, I poured all the water in. So it's definitely got water in it. And I'm right next to the HEB. So I go in the HEB and I do the thing. But I also get 2 big gallons of water. And come out, and I'm realizing, okay, I'm just dumping water at this point. Checking under my truck, it's leaking. It's steaming. I can see the hoses leaking. And come out with the 2 gallons of water. I see the hoses leaking, yada, yada, yada. I realize, it's just coming out. So I figure if a case of water is about 3 point something gallons, give or take, and I figure if I put a whole gallon in there, I'd already put like 3 gallons in there and it didn't last. So I'm like, well, it can only hold so much. So if I put a gallon in there, I should be able to make it pretty good. So anyway, this is where the story gets interesting. So I put a gallon in there, get about halfway home. When I get about halfway home, I notice that the temperature gauge is back in the red. And I'm watching it like a hawk. So I pull off to the side of the road. I got my flashers on, and I got my lights on. So it's obvious that I'm there. All that being said, I'm in front of my truck at this point, standing in front, hoods up, lights on. Told you, it's obvious that I'm there. And I'm putting the water into the thing, and this truck comes by flying, hits my mirror on my truck, like my driver's side mirror, and shatters my mirror. And I just hear the sound, the crunching sound of my mirror shattering. And like I'm standing in front of the truck, and I've been in a few car accidents. They're not fun, but the sound of all of the sound of everything really sucks. So I just heard that, and I had the overwhelming feeling like a child when you get yelled at and you just cry. I had that feeling, like I just wanted to cry. It just freaked me out real bad. It was just such an overwhelming feeling at the moment because I've just heard that sound so many times, and I'm standing there like, yo, if that guy would have been just a few inches closer to the truck, like he would have hit the truck, which would have like crushed me. And I'm just sitting here like, holy shit. Like this, how could this situation get any worse? And I guess, of course, it could always be worse. But man, I'm just like, I just realized like I'm having these troubles with my truck, this hose, yada yada. It's gonna kill me. And then the mirror gets taken away. So I collect myself there and finish putting the rest of the water in the truck, drop the hood down, wait for a moment in traffic for me to sneak back around and get in my truck. And I get all the way back to like practically in front of my house. So when I get to right in front of my house, right by the Tesla factory, it starts to overheat again. So I pull over into the median, and I have the 2 single bottles of water. I know this thing just ate a whole gallon that I dumped in it in just a few miles, but all I have to do is get into my house. So I'll put these 2 bottles of water in there, and thankfully, I limp back around and I get to the house. And Mumford's pulling up when I get home, and he sees me there. My truck's just like steam's coming out from under the hood. It's a thing. I'm realizing this is a long, drawn-out thing. If you've made it this far, roll tide. If you haven't, then I totally get it. This is a lot. But anyway, I get back to the house, and I start looking, and I start trying to like see. I took a video of where all the steam was coming from, but it was just so much steam, it's hard to tell the source of this stuff. I've organized rides back and forth to downtown when I need them for work and such for the next couple of days. I've asked my good friend Michael Ridley to help me out in this situation, and I believe that he is going to over the next couple of days. What a legend that guy is. He's helped me with my truck once before. Like a maniac. He just knows exactly what's wrong, and he just goes right for it. But anyway, so yeah, okay. I'll post a video of the truck. So that's just a little clip of that. I took a minute video just trying to work around like places I couldn't see to see if I could find out where it was coming from, but I couldn't. It's just too much steam. But that was after it was turned off. It was just sitting there after that. I just let it cool off, and I should go back out now and try to squeeze the hoses or whatever. But since I got a ride figured out for downtown tomorrow, I'm just gonna handle that earlier in the day on Wednesday. But yeah, so that's what we're working with. Could be a whole lot worse. But having an old truck has its perks, but it also it's sometimes it's like this. So, anyway, that's what happened today.